Let's go to our political panel. Liberal Senator James Paterson from the Labor Party, Kimberley Kitching. Thanks both for your time. I might start with shadow cabinet rumblings, if I can. Senator Kitching, interesting to hear from out of this. Anthony Albanese wants offset savings in terms of any new spending. So it's about economic credentials for Labor and budget credentials. Is that the right focus in a pandemic?
Well, hi Tom and hi James. And could I just start, Tom, with congratulating James on becoming the chair of the Parliamentary Joint Committee on Intelligence and Security. He's the latest in a long line of very good chairs of that committee, and obviously that committee is above politics. But I wanted to say, I'm not really surprised by the contents of what's been leaked in Rob Harris's story this morning. Labor has always been a fiscally responsible party, and I think, from Paul Keating onwards saying that, the Australian economy is not a magic pudding, from statements such as, that government should be the lightest burden it can be on working Australians. But I think there's historical records show that, in fact, the Labor Party has been the most fiscally responsible party. We've run lower deficits. We've spent less money as a proportion of the economy than the Coalition has. And while I think the Coalition talks a good game, I don't think that they can really claim to be the most fiscally responsible party. But of course,
right now, in a pandemic, is that what voters want to hear? Make some savings?
Well, I actually think Australian taxpayers want government to be absolutely responsible with their money, and it is their money. So when we see, blowouts and, this government is going to have a record $1 trillion debt that's coming up with $500 billion in 2019. And obviously, there's been spending stimulus packages. But I think that what Australian taxpayers want is a government that's responsible. And everyone knows that, it'll be their grandchildren who'll be paying down the debt.
James Paterson, you've got some glowing praise and a fiscally responsible Labor Party. You can't disagree with much of that, can you?
Well, it's a good start, Tom. I saw Anthony Albanese say at his press conference today that he will make no apologies for being fiscally responsible. That's like saying you'll make no apologies for being in favour of motherhood and apple pie. The test, of course, comes to actually being fiscally responsible rather than just saying you're going to be fiscally responsible. And in some previous election campaigns, the Labor Party has taken tax increases as so-called savings measures. A tax increase is not a savings measure, and if they're planning on doing that in this economic climate, that would be very damaging, as you say, but we'll wait and see what comes.
What about what the Coalition says versus what it does? Debt doubled on your watch before COVID.
Well, Tom, as you know, we inherited a very challenging fiscal trajectory from the previous government. They'd baked in a lot of spending with legislative measures that the Senate then blocked us from undoing in any way, shape or form. So it's been much more challenging to get the budget back into shape than we would have liked it to be, but we have made real good progress, and we delivered a balanced budget for the first time in many years just before the crisis hit. Now, it's obviously going to take a long time to get back to that, but it's going to require all shoulders to the wheel. So I welcome the Labor Party's commitment today to participating in that. I look forward to them being positive and proactive in the Senate chamber in particular and supporting fiscal responsibility.
Yeah, it might be a while before the back-end black mugs can actually be used. Just very short on time, but if I can get both of your views. First of all, you, Kimberley, this city of Daru that a Chinese company is looking at tipping almost $40 billion into, it's as close to Australian territory as you could get in PNG. What do you make of this move?
Well, look, I'm actually not in favour of a Chinese company leasing the Port of Darwin, so my views on the city of Daru are equally with that view. I like to be consistent, but I do think the Australian government needs to ensure that we do continue to have a good relationship with Papua New Guinea. Obviously, we have historically very close ties from the Second World War, for example, but we've also done a lot of good work with our PNG neighbours. So we want to be a friend. And I think Australia has been a friend to lots of countries in our region, rather than just being, a country that writes big cheques that come with many unfortunate conditions.
Do you see this as a provocative move, James, on behalf of the Chinese government?
Well, unlike some other countries, Tom, Australia respects the sovereignty of our neighbours and encourages their development. And all that we do is seek to ensure that it occurs in a sustainable way, in an ethical way, in a legal way. And Prime Minister Morrison and Prime Minister Marape have very strong personal relationship and work very closely together on these issues of regional security and stability. And I'm sure we'll be providing whatever assistance the PNG government needs to help them navigate issues like this. All I can say at this stage is that it does look like it's a fairly speculative proposal. The PNG government themselves have said they have not received any formal proposal, and I'm sure we work closely with them on navigating it.
All right. We'll have longer next time, I promise. We'll call it time management on my behalf. But, Senators, thank you both for your time. Talk again soon.